Good afternoon, everyone, and thanks for tuning in. It gives me so much excitement to bring to you our new program on Galaxy Television. It's called The Buzz. It's basically about what's buzzing, what's trending on social media, and so much more in real time. Happy New Year. It's the very first day in a brand new year, the year 2018, and indeed I feel glad to be alive and to be doing this. My name is still Patience Bilu Okafor, and I'm not alone. It's a full house. Alera is here. Good afternoon,
Hi,
Alera.
Good afternoon. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you too.
Okay, and this time around, we're actually buzzing into 2018.
We're really buzzing into 2018. That's a good way to put it.
Yes, definitely.
Okay, it's a packed studio. We've got our panelists here with us on the program this lovely afternoon, and we'll be looking at the year 2017 in retrospect. What trended on social media in the past year, and of course, if time permits, maybe some projections into this brand new year 2018. But however it is, we still pledge allegiance to our dear country, Nigeria, and helping us to do that properly on the program this afternoon is Timi Dakolo doing this one. When we come back, we'll be introducing our guests. Don't go away. Welcome back. If you're just joining us, you're watching The Buzz on Galaxy Television, and this is the New Year's edition of the show. And of course, like I said, it's a full studio. And of course, let me do the introductions. In fact, I'm feeling overwhelmed right now because I have all of my senior colleagues on the panel this afternoon. All right, to my immediate right, I have a renowned broadcaster. He has been on radio for as long as I can remember being a female. And of course, that's like years ago. It's a pleasure to have Mr. Ayo Makinde with us on the show. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. It's funny what you do with your voice, you know, when you're a broadcaster. Before, without the microphone, without the camera, you go, you know, all crazy and all. But then when you come
as soon
on,
as the lights come on.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, also joining us, we have a journalist par excellence as well, and she's a writer and a speaker, Becky Olorunpomi. Hi, Becky.
Hi, good afternoon.
Happy
New Year.
Happy New Year to you. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
And of course, we have the big guy over there. Yes, looking like a senator. He's actually the owner of Flip TV, an online TV, and also the publisher of E247 magazine, Mr. Biodun Kupolui. Good afternoon, sir. Thank you for joining us today.
Compliments of the season, too.
We should have said, you're welcome on The Buzz.
Yes, Alera.
Okay, right now we'll be starting off. 2017 was actually an interesting year.
Very interesting.
Very interesting.
Very eventful.
We had lots and lots of characters that actually came on board and trended. So we'll start off with the Stand With Nigeria protest. I stand out, yes.
I stand. One Nigeria, one voice. That was a nationwide. There was a nationwide strike that kickstarted rather the year 2017, and of course the protest was initially championed by Two-Face Idibia himself, even though he backed out on the 4th of February because of rumored threats to his life. But the protest did go on after all because Nigerians weren't happy that the president, Muhammadu Buhari, was absent from his seat as president for months on end. Let's quickly take part of that video. When we come back, we start talking.
Police traffic were in front of us.
All right, that video is Courtesy Channel's news feed, and of course that's snippets from the I Stand With Nigeria protest. Now let's start with you, Mr. Makinde. You know, the year started off roughly, you know, with those protests and people clamoring for so many things, you know, saying enough is enough because Nigerians were suffering humongously, you know, from many things. What's your view about the protests? Do you think we actually achieved anything as a country from the protests?
It might sound stinging, but the truth is we really didn't achieve much.
Okay.
That is the truth. I had the privilege of being a regular news analyst on a radio station about that time. And the people were always saying, where is Mr. President, where is Mr. President? I asked one simple question. Do we have a lacuna? Do we have a vacuum? The answer is no, because a letter was transmitted to the National Assembly to tell us that the Vice President is going to have the full powers of the President. At the time, the President was not around. So there was really no need for the noise. However, we left so many other things untalked about. And there's one thing that I have said over the years, and maybe Biodun would be able to confirm that. When we close our eyes, when we open our eyes to things that are not important, we're actually closing our eyes to some other things that could be going on the ground. Laws were passed at that time that didn't get any fame or any recognition until after it had been passed into law. And those laws became effective and began to affect our lives. Economic laws, economic decisions were taken against us, and we didn't care simply because we were paying attention to things that were spurious. So my point at that time was, okay, so you're making noise about the fact that Mr. President is not around. What is the problem?
Well, shouldn't Nigerians have asked about the whereabouts or the condition of health of the president at that time?
We were not at a loss for where he was.
Okay.
We wanted to know what his health condition was. It's okay. Please, how many presidents have actually come out to say, this is my status, the status of my health? So that wasn't really, for me, important. What was important was that we had a problem with our economy. That problem of our economy dates back to the 80s. And we haven't been able to do anything about that until now. Did the protests do anything about that? Absolutely not. So let us stop paying attention to persons and start paying attention to issues.
Okay, let me just comment. For me, I think, at times when you are hit by some big problems, you don't really know how to react. So anything you just see around, you just
latch on to it.
You react to it. So I think that is the major thing. Like he said, we have basic economic issues, and people don't really know how to go about those things. So the next available thing we can react to. In fact, if there was a man who couldn't perform very well at home, he will react to the government, because there are issues. People are really suffering. Let me use that word. So at the slightest provocation, somebody just wants to just flare up, and somebody just wants to use that as an opportunity.
It was a way to vent.
Yes, to vent.
I actually think that it was more or less like a way in which a lot of celebrities came out to actually speak their mind, because even Sheilo, in that particular period in time, we also had, we're actually suffering issues of insecurity.
Yes.
We had the Bado thingy
in
going on in
Ikorodu.
Ikorodu. So there were too many things going on in Nigeria at about that particular time. And it was just the way in which the government would as well just get listen to people and just get quiet, whatever it is.
And I'm going to make them listen that, okay, we have, even though this one you might think is not important, but there are other things we are also we want you to check.
I would love for Biodun to say a thing. Wait, let me tell you why.
Go ahead.
He is a lot more into the entertainment sector.
Yeah.
Okay. So for entertainers to come out and take on an economic or political issue, I think it was something.
Yeah,
was it a hijack? Was it a hijack?
No, let me explain to you.
All right.
Anything you see happening in Nigeria, try to look behind the surface.
Okay.
That protest was not genuine.
It wasn't.
It was inspired, so to say, politically inspired.
Okay.
And that is why it didn't catch a ball, on the streets. If Two-Face had ventured into that protest, it would have failed, hopefully.
Really?
Yes, he saw the signs written on the wall. And of course, Charlie Boy, you saw what came out of his protest. He failed woefully.
And like Makinde said, you know, we didn't achieve anything with it. Because in the first place, where the president went to was known to all. It was expressed publicly. And of course, was it constitutional? Yes. According to section 145 of the Nigerian Constitution, subsection 1, you know, the man acted in response to that. And of course, he made a due handover to his VP, and he said he would continue. And the man was going well in that regard. So why the protest? Well, like I said, you know, in Nigeria, when something happens, try to look
beyond the surface,
and then you see that a lot of people are involved. You
know. Forgive me.
For the entertainers' involvement, you know, let me tell you one thing. Most entertainers are more political than we see. They wine and dine with politicians. And they know what they are doing. They are not like, you know, unlike, even in America, that we always make reference to, you see that some of them are political. But when it comes to public matters, public interests, they stay with the public. So in this case, you know, I feel very strongly that, you know, it was politically inspired. And of course, you know, they saw the handwriting on the wall that, look, if you venture to do this, some other things will happen to you. And of course, they back out.
I don't want to believe, I don't want to go that line because you say it was rumored that was politically inspired.
Yeah.
But if, I wouldn't know, but if Two-Face came out and said he wants to go with people, like we said, it was somehow, it was threatened to back out.
How do you know it was threatened?
Because that was the video in which
on Instagram.
Yes, so if you say it was
the DSS.
Who threatened you?
The DSS came after him.
At this level, we should be able to quote and make particular reference to something. Who threatened you? Was it a government official?
I can tell you this, which is why I made the reference that, look, Biodun will have some information. I know why I said that. Because, you know, first of all, an entertainer is a businessman.
All right.
First and foremost. Secondly, any action of that entertainer does not affect just the entertainer. Affects all his A&R, affects his record label, affects all his management, affects his family, his school fees, the school fees of his children, everything and everyone around him. So it is not just his decision. We're talking about some of our, you know, entertainers, you know, those called Soro back in time, that their business was their person. But in core entertainment, your business is not just about you. It's about a whole gamut of organizations, event planners, event managers, media managers, you know, all kinds of things. So the economy of so many people are tied to that. So it was a risky decision to come out in the first place.
And I tell you, it affected him.
An even riskier decision to back out. However, it was wiser
to have backed because that particular way in which he backed out also affected when he wanted to come out recently, talking about this false safety. He wanted to kind of like, okay, let's leave.
He should have first been allowed to carry on with that protest. He should have stopped him. He would have still succeeded.
The most successful.
So it was just.
The most
it wasn't him that said not to back out. It was not his decision.
Excuse me.
Okay.
The most successful protest we ever had was spontaneous. Go to Ukraine. The most successful protests are usually spontaneous.
Yes.
Never
need to advertise it.
Go to Ukraine. A Nigerian pastor, you know, joined in helping the Ukrainians to champion a cause. No, there was no head of it. The Stand Up Nigeria, whatever it was, you know, of the fuel crisis of another January 1 of 2012 was spontaneous.
Yes,
that's true.
Nobody asked somebody.
It was just one organization just said, let's take the front.
And everybody moved.
But the moment that organization began to call the shots and they said, go rest on Friday, that crisis, that protest ended.
All right, gentlemen and ladies, because of our time, let's move it along. Already we know how that protest ended. There's been a series of other protests after that, protesting one thing or the other. And of course, our dear president is back in the country, hale and hearty.